Hey guys, my name is Victoria. I'm a professional makeup artist in Houston, Texas, and today I am showing you guys my in-depth routine for a flawless, long-lasting, neutral full beat. Get your snacks ready, get your notepad because we are going 2016 tutorial style with all the products, all the deets. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the glam. In this household, we keep our curlers in until the very last minute. Okay, so I'm gonna jump right in because this is a very in-depth process. So I've already skin prepped. I like a pretty thick, rich cream, personally because I have dry skin. I use the La Roche-Posay Triple Repair. I keep it pretty simple. I do some eye cream. I'll put the exact products that I use for skin prep in the description. And then the first thing that I do that is really important is I take a cotton pad and some alcohol and I rub it through my brows. The reason that I wipe the brows and the surrounding skin with alcohol is because skincare can make the brows really slippery and brow products tend to not adhere very well to this. So just to get the most out of all the products I'm going to use next, I like to give them a pretty dry base to start out with. And I use pretty thick creams. Next, I'm going in with the NYX brow glue. I use the clear one. My tube is a little bit of a struggle tube right now, but that's not the point. I squeeze up and I get a good little amount of the brow glue on the spoolie. And then I brush that through the brows and I go every way I can so that it's really coating each and every hair. And then I go back and push them into the position that I want. And then you really want to let that get good and dry. We're using a fan today because Mama's rushing. I am going to a gala tonight because my business was nominated for this grant. So I felt like it would be the perfect opportunity to go like real full glam. Okay, now that my brows are like dry to the touch, they may be still just a tad bit tacky. I'm gonna take some of my Makeup by Mario powder. This is the color Warm Honey, although it doesn't really matter for this step. And I'm taking just a little tiny bit and setting that down. So I've been really into letting my brows kind of be and just helping them a tad bit along the way. I'm going to go in with this NYX Lift and Snatch brow pen, I believe. Yes. It's so good because the tip is very fine and this is the color Brunette. I'm just going as I see it necessary and kind of adding in little hairs, but I'm leaving some gaps strategically because I just think that the brows look the best when they're not too perfect. Okay, I like to put primer on after I've done my brows, just again for the reasoning that I don't want them to like slip and slide everywhere. I'm using an oldie but a goodie Smashbox Photo Finish because I'm expecting to take a lot of pictures tonight, and this is just, you just can't go wrong. Okay, so now it's time to carve out my brows. I'm very particular with the way that I carve out my brows. So I use two concealers. The first concealer that I use is a little bit closer to my skin tone, and then the next one is gonna be brighter and really help the brow bone pop. Okay, so first I'm going in with this Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Concealer. I'm going in with the shade 146 and it's pretty close to my skin. And then this is actually a paintbrush, a good paintbrush from Michaels, and she gets it done every single time. And this color that's closer to my skin, I'm gonna focus on the front part of my brow, and I'm very lightly and very slowly just chiseling away at it. I like my brows to feel like freshly threaded, but not necessarily too drawn on and arched out, especially at the front. Now I'm taking my Too Faced Butterscotch, which is significantly brighter, and I'm gonna put that under the rest of the brow. And I'm also going to use this to go ahead and prep the eyelid for shadows. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just blend that out now. I'm starting with the front of the brow where the more neutral color is. Okay, so now we're gonna build our eye look. Long-lasting makeup that translates really well on camera utilizes layers, thin layers, but intentional layers all the way from the beginning. That starts at the eyes as well. So before I start going in with shadows, I'm actually gonna contour my eye to kind of create the shape and put a base down for what I want. I'm using my curved case made by Mitchell. She's very much so beat up, but I'm taking one of the warm bronzy shades on a fluffy synthetic brush. This actually came in an Urban Decay Naked palette forever ago, but any kind of fluffy brush will work. And I'm gonna work this cream bronzer through the crease all the way, and I'm gonna take it to the side of my nose here, where I will add nose contour later, and it'll just flow right into it seamlessly. And I'm bringing it out here. You really can create a different eye shape here at this step. You can keep it more round. I am going to drag it out to the side because I want my face to be. I have a little bit of a deeper shade, and this brush is double-ended. I literally wish that Urban Decay just like made this brush because it's so perfect for this step right here. But a synthetic little point brush, anything like that that you can put creams on is fine. And I'm gonna start to take this deeper, slightly cooler brown, and I'm gonna work that on the lash line, stamping it on the lash line first, and then I'm gonna pull out to kind of map out where my wing will go later. Once that's laid down, I'm just gonna tap it in with the brush that had the bronzer. Y'all, my powder's on the struggle bus. She's almost gone, but you know what? She's gonna survive. And this is the Real Techniques setting brush. It doesn't have a number on it. Oh, 402. I love this powder brush so much. I use it multiple times throughout the process. Oh my gosh. I tell you guys, my pro kit, so clean, super pristine. I'm always wiping everything down. My personal stuff, I'm like, look at this. It's just a shame. Man down. Anyway, to start building the eye look that we want to have, I'm going to go in with bronzer. This is the Juvia's Place Bronzer Duo in dark. Once again, it's about building uniformity. I'm going to use this to warm up the perimeter of my face later, so it'll be the perfect transition shade to start with. And I'm just following the trail that I left with that cream bronzer. Right now, I'm just using the first shade, the lighter one. Okay, so I'm pretty much gonna start just building up warm brown shades, and as I go deeper in shade, I'm gonna go smaller in brush. I got this from a Wet n Wild set literally forever ago, and I'm gonna take the deeper shade in the bronze duo now, and I'm gonna go ahead and stamp this in the crease of the eye as well. I'm gonna focus this on the outer part, and I'm gonna bring it about halfway in, but as you can see, I'm not gonna take it all the way to the front of the nose or anything like that. Now we're gonna actually use some eyeshadow. I feel like I use way more face products for this look than I actually use eyeshadows, but I'm gonna go in with my Juvia's Place Warrior Volume 2 palette. As you can see, she's very much so well loved, and I'm gonna go in with the color Kufuru, also well loved, but this palette has lasted me a very long time. But I love this chocolate brown. It's so pretty. Again, my brush is smaller now, and this one I'm really focusing on the outer V. So not only does the brush get smaller as I go, but I cover less space of the eye with the darker colors. I keep the darker colors focused on the outer part and the lash line, and that helps build just drama and really snatch the eye up. Now I'm just gonna go back with the last brush I had and kind of blend that. Okay, I spent like another little minute there just blending and making sure that everything looks seamless. I think I'm comfortable with the depth of the crease. In theory, you could keep building and going deeper up to black, you know, if you want to have a super dramatic eye. I'm going to leave the crease right there for now, and I'm going to start to build some drama on the lash line. So I'm going to start with the color Right by Kufru. It's called Walzana. It's just like a really, really dark, cool brown. And I'm going to take a little pencil brush and just right at the lash line start to stamp that down. This is going to build up a little bit more smoke, and it's also going to start to be a base for the liquid liner that we're going to put later. Always go back and blend. After I add every color, I'll go back with the color that was like one step below it, a little bit lighter, and just blend for a second. Is you really want to go as you go, because if you get to the end and you start trying to blend everything, it's going to be a patchy hot mess. Shadow. Now I'm going to go in with Feline by MAC, and I'm going to very close to the lash line lay this down, and I'm going to get just a little bit thicker right here on like the outer third of the eye. Okay, once the lash line is lined, I'm gonna go ahead and tight line and line my waterline as well. Okay, now I'm gonna take that same pencil brush and smoke that black out, kind of pull it out into a wing. There's nothing a little micellar water can't fix, like, oop, we got outside the lines there. But I'm gonna try to make myself, if I'm gonna go out of the lines, go out of the lines this way and not take the black like further into the crease, you know? So we're gonna pause on the lash line for a little minute. We're gonna go back to the lid. Today I'm gonna keep it matte. Sometimes I'll add a shimmer over this, but I'm really feeling a matte lid. And when I want a super opaque matte nude lid, I love using a foundation powder over an eyeshadow. This is the old formula of the MAC Studio Fix powder. And I have not found a replacement for her in my routine yet. Miss NC45 and I, we go together really bad. This is also the powder that I use to set under the eye. So again, with that like building a cohesive look, I find that it complements really well. And I'm just gonna pack that onto the lid in kind of a half cut crease. And I'm gonna let this act like it's a soft cut crease without having to do all the concealer and all that. And then this is the Morphe M167. Now I'm just gonna blend on that little edge there. Okay, so sometimes I will stop here and I'll just move on to my face, but I am gonna do a liquid liner today. I'm gonna take it all the way since we're going full glam. I love using the Color Fix Matte by Danessa Myricks, the black color, and I also use the chocolate color for liners sometimes, but it's so pretty and it dries down really matte, which I love a super matte liner. This is another paintbrush. It's really, really, really tiny, and that is how I prefer it because I want a super cute little dainty wing and I like to have control over it. And I like to get the brush like really, really coated. Okay, I just knocked my phone down so hard, so I don't know if we've got the same view, but we're gonna rock with it for now. But yeah, this is the wing. She's like a little half wing. I'm gonna do the other side. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and prep my lashes. I don't exactly remember the name of these lashes. They're Amazon lashes, but I'm gonna use a pair of these and I'm gonna trim them and I'm gonna add the ends to the, I'm gonna do the whole thing. While my lash glue is drying, I like to move on and do other things. The first thing being clean this look up. This is just a Q-tip and micellar water. Look at that. I used to be super big on Bobbi Brown color corrector, and then, which I still am. They have really good, Bobbi Brown knows their color correctors. But I had taken a makeup course and a part of the gift bag was some of these for free, and I got plenty. I had some for my kit and I had some left over, and I'm like, you know, let me give her a spin back because I'm in the use what you have era. And honestly, it turned out to eat so bad. I've like been back hooked on these. I like mixing orange and peach. obviously. I don't know why that took me so long to figure out. And I'm gonna put that on the fluffy brush, the same one that I used to blend my concealer onto my eyelid. And I'm gonna start placing that in all the places I like to color correct. So first and foremost, under the eye. After under the eye, I'm gonna apply that around my lip and on the chin. And I'm gonna mix up a little bit more because I was actually modest today. Usually I mix up way too much of every single thing. So I've been trying to be more sparing. And any little blemishes or anything like that that need extra coverage, I'm gonna dot those on with the little color corrector as well. Okay, so I had to take the bonnet off, so we're getting curlers all in action because quite frankly, I cannot have a line of demarcation where the bonnet is. So we're gonna go ahead and get this base routine going. I'm loving the lashes, by the way, they're super flirty. So NARS, I love this foundation so much. The packaging, it could be better. It could be better, but this foundation is so good and it looks so beautiful in person and on camera. It's the NARS Soft Matte Foundation. This is the shade Nambia? No. This is the shade Marquise. I don't know, but I love her down. And the only thing is, because it's like flat on the bottom, all the product is constantly like running and oozing, so I try to store it like right side up. And then this color is a little bit warm for me, so I'm gonna mix in some of my LA Girl foundation mixing pigment, and it's just called Blue, I think. I'm gonna take this in my spatula, and this is just gonna neutralize the foundation a little bit. I find she's a tinge on the warm side, and when it dries down and oxidizes, I don't want to be giving Oompa Loompa, so we're gonna get ahead of that. It's the Sonia Kashuk flat buffing brush, I think, round buffing brush, and I'm gonna take that and start stippling this foundation all over. I like to kind of put my lash glue on, let that dry, do the color corrector, go do the lashes, come back, because I feel like products perform their absolute best when they just... Okay, the sirens are going. I was saying that my method behind doing my lash glue and then finishing up the color correcting and then coming back to put the lashes on and then doing the foundation, one is to save time because the lash glue really does take forever to get tacky, but two, it's because I really think every product performs the best when it has time to really dry down and set in. That way you're applying the foundation over the dried color corrector and fully covering up those spots rather than mixing and mushing all the products together. Is another key tip for longevity. Beyond just applying the makeup in layers, I like to set in layers. So this is when I'm going to go in with my first round of setting spray. I love this so much. It says finishing spray, but I like that it doesn't necessarily get like super tacky like a one size or something like that, so you can still build in layers with this. This is a fresh bottle, so we gotta, there we go. Once that spray has had a moment to kind of melt in, I'm gonna go with a sponge and just tap that in. This is gonna, one, get any like super excess off, and two, just like push everything in, I feel like. Now I'm going back into my little beat up Made by Mitchell palette. I'm gonna mix these two to kind of be somewhere between a contour and a bronzer. This is the Morphe M449 brush. I love this brush so much. It's really nice and small, so you can get a good precise application, especially like right on that cheekbone, and keep things from getting super muddy. And then I'll go to the jawline. What I'm wearing is strapless today, so I'm gonna kind of start to take this down a little far. And I go to blush, so I like to mix. I kind of do like a little bit more orange. I like it to have like a corally base, but I like to bring in some pink. I like to mute it out. I don't know, ever since I got the curve case, like I just love mixing. I usually try to create a really pretty like corally color. This brush, if you've seen these red handle brushes, these are literally from the TikTok shop. They're so good. The brand is called I don't know. They're literally really good though. Like, I love them a lot. Some of them are a little bit, okay, you know, prickly, a little bit harder. They're not all the best, but for what you pay for the set, you get so many good ones, and it's so worth it. And I want to try it one day, just honestly to see. And they've actually become like a staple part in my routine now. I like to put just a little bit on the nose, a little tiny bit on the forehead. That's optional. So once I look like I'm sunburned, I know that I'm well on my way to where I'm trying to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and do concealer now. I'm gonna use the same two concealers that I used to carve out the brows and prep the eyes, that Maybelline one, and then I'm gonna go in with some of that Too Faced in Butterscotch as well. I like to first kind of wipe it out a little bit, just to like get this like really flat, and then I'm gonna go first into the neutral color concealer, and I am going to reverse contour my nose to kind of compensate for the cream contour that we skipped. And then I'm gonna take that same neutral concealer and clean one more time at that wing, and then whatever I have left of this concealer, I'm gonna go ahead and just like mix it into that butterscotch, and that is what I'm going to use to highlight the rest of my face. I'm gonna put, of course, under the eye, and I really am gonna like be controlled with this application. I don't want to go any lower than here. This is a really full coverage concealer, so you don't necessarily have to cover every inch of where you're gonna want it to be, because you're gonna blend it out. This is gonna be where I set for the second time. Consumerism got me on this one. To blend out my concealer, I'm using the BK Beauty Angie, whatever that like super popular, Angie Hot and Flashy. TikTok shop one again, I'm not gonna lie, but she's actually so tea. Milo, please, this is not about you right now. And as far as blending goes, I'm gonna start blending in the places where I need the least coverage. So I'm gonna go like out in. So I'm gonna do the chin, and then I'm gonna do the forehead, and I'm gonna do here. And then I'm gonna start blending under the eye. I'm gonna start with the more neutral concealer. They're gonna mix a little bit, but I like to keep bright color like right under the eye in this area. Starting at the edges, sort of diffusing that into the blush. I'm using really quick tapping motions. Okay, so once my under eye and everything is pretty much blended, I'm gonna go in with this really tiny brush. This is the Sephora Pro Shadow 15 brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and tap in that nose highlight. I'm just like tapping right on top. I'm not sweeping or swiping because I want to keep that right where it is. I'm gonna use this brush to go ahead and get in any little crevices or tiny spots that need to be blended. So I love to get any extra out of the little nose cracks there. I like to get this blended, kind of fuse that in. I'm just lightly tapping and just merging. I'm gonna go in with this sponge and just tap over things. This is really gonna just push everything into place and get any little last minute spots that I missed. Then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm gonna set under my eye. Again, I'm using the MAC NC45. This is the original formula. I literally have a drawer full of MAC Studio Fix powders in the original formula, and I don't want to let go of them. But if anybody has any recommendations of where to go from literally the best powder in the entire world that they just really had to change for whatever reason, let me know. Okay, I love MAC Studio Fix for all around my face right now, but right now this Maybelline powder just happens to be a little bit closer to what my skin tone at this moment, and the Maybelline Fit Me is goated. She's actually comparable to the Studio Fix powder. I love her so much. I feel like she's low-key a little Dupiana. Okay, so it's time for baking. Makeup by Mario. This is Warm Honey. I'm super into peach powder these days, like super into it. So I like to take my powder puff and I press it into the palm of my hand. That way it gets a really good even coating. And I'm gonna start by reinforcing that little reverse contour situation that we had, the reverse contour. I don't know why I stuttered over that so badly. And then once that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and bake under the rest of the eye. Okay, so now it's time to do the powders that complement all the creams that we laid down. So first I'm gonna do bronzer. Again, the Juvia's Place bronzer in dark, the same one that I used on the eyes. This is just gonna tie everything in really well. I'm gonna start with the lighter one. Oh, this brush is like kind of shedding. I'm gonna start with the lighter one. I'm gonna work that around the perimeter of the face. The deeper color bronzer, I'm literally just gonna hit that right at the back of the cheekbone and like really on the far sides of the face. I'm not gonna drag it all the way in. She's super warm and I'm not at my most tan right now. With the little shadow brush, this is also BH Cosmetics, and any flat dome shadow brush will work. I'm gonna take the lighter color, only the lighter color, and this is what I'm gonna use to do my little nose contour. It's not really contour, of course it's bronzer, but it's just a little bit something to kind of tie everything in and give a little bit of structure without like really having a super hard nose contour. That isn't always the most flattering. I love a smoky lower lash line, bringing it all together. So today for blush, I'm gonna kind of mix a couple of things. I really am liking the matte skin, but I want to bring in just a teensy weensy bit of glow, just a teensy bit of glow. So I'm gonna use this Sephora collection blush in the color Fascinated. It's like a really bright corally color, and I'm gonna use a little bit of MAC's Burnt Pepper blush as well. This just gives like the perfect literal like sunburnt skin, and it adds the perfect amount of warmth. One more blush. I know that seems like a lot of blushes, it is, but I'm gonna use a baby pink as well. This is Juvia's Place Volume 4. This is another BH Cosmetics brush. I swear, literally, even though they're no longer around and I got these brushes forever ago, they are still like so many of my staples. But just any smaller brush that you can use to apply the pink a little bit more concentrated. I like to keep this one like right under the eye. Okay, so I'm all dusted off and looking pretty dusted, might I add, but this is my little trick. This is what I love doing right here. That's really about to turn us up even more. So right now we already have a pretty bright under eye, super flawless. That MAC Studio Fix is undefeated, but I like to amp it up a little bit more for a full glam kind of night. And to do that, I actually gonna be using this blush, which I know sounds frightening because Juvia's Place is super duper pigmented, but I'm only gonna be using the lighter color, and I'm gonna go in with that on this like fluffy brush. And I'm just gonna tap that right over the under eye. And this is just gonna give that like pinkish bright under eye and morph together with the blush so beautifully. It photographs so well. You could also, of course, like actually use a pink powder or use like a violet powder, but I just tried this one day, like randomly when I was just in here doing stuff, and I was like, okay, she eats. So now I really like doing this. Okay, I'm gonna do a little inner corner action now just to kind of blend all this look together. This is another MAC Studio Fix powder. You definitely don't have to use a foundation powder. Again, I think that they just last really well, but you could use a bone eyeshadow, you could use a white eyeshadow. Today I'm going for this instead of a white because I do want to keep it like pretty chill, but still like just give that vibe. This brush was a little bit big for this, but it's fine. I'm gonna take my powder brush and kind of tap that in. And now we're gonna set again. I honestly chose this lip liner because I think it'll fit the best inside of my clutch. It's like the most used one I have right now. It's LA Girl Chai Latte. It's so pretty. If there's any moisture, I'm gonna dab around the lip line with my powder puff so that this lip liner will really be locked in place. And once I have those lined, I'm gonna just fill that in with a little lip balm. For mascara, I'm gonna use the Essence mascara. She's a tried and true at this point. I'm gonna do this off camera. We don't even need to waste the time. I still have a shirt on, guys. I just made it into a little tube top because I'm about ready for my little bonus. But I'm gonna do my lip combo really quickly. So I'm gonna start with Saint Germain by MAC. It looks super pink. It looks really, really pink, but when you put it on, it's way more sheer. I'm gonna mix Acting Natural in with this, which is like the perfect concealer lip. This lip is already eating. I'm gonna top it off with some gloss though, just to, you know. And I'm using, unfortunately, MAC discontinued. What's up with MAC? Come on now. Don't be taking away all the things that we need. Okay, now our face is looking beat down, but we cannot have the face super radiant, glowy, and flawless and then just have this all out in the dress looking dull. So I do like to use body makeup. This is like a true pro product right here, what I'm about to pull up. So I start with some lotion, obviously, before I put on any like shimmer or anything, because you don't want it to cling to any dry spots. And I am a Eucerin girly through and through. This is like a little bonus, you know, just because we're going out tonight, like it's a whole thing. And then I also am gonna use a little bit of this body oil. I literally got this off TikTok shop and she is so tea. And it has a vanilla fragrance to it. I'm gonna use that as well, just to really add to the glow. This is called Melanie Mills Hollywood Gleam Face and Body Radiance. When I tell you, this body bronzer is so good. I have it in my pro kit as well. Once it dries down, when I say it does not move, I mean it does not move. And it gives the most beautiful, beautiful glow. I am using the color Deep Gold. And I'm just using a flat little buffing brush to kind of get that all over the chest. Bring it up the neck. Now that it looks like I just laid out in the sun, I'm gonna go ahead and do my last little round of setting spray. And then to really lock us in, I'm gonna do one round of this L'Oreal Infallible spray. Very much so comparable to the One Size. You gotta shake her good. I'm gonna get that on the body as well. Literally a nude full glam. It eats every time. With a curl, with a body curl, come on, get into it. I don't want to put my shirt back up because I want this body bronzer to like fully dry down. I'm about to get in my dress. So if you want to see the full look with the outfit and everything, then make sure you look in the description or somewhere here on the screen. I'll put my Instagrams. Make sure you subscribe, like, all that jazz so you can tune in for the next look that we create. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.